The Apple serialization system is still logging your repairs right now, and the FTC can't stop it. Every component swap on your iPhone fires a telemetry handshake to Apple's servers. The Federal Trade Commission investigated and recommended action. The EU legislated against it. And the mechanism that records every unauthorized repair and keeps that audit trail is still running. Today I'm exposing the internal system Apple calls parts pairing. Apple's official explanation is straightforward. Parts pairing is a security feature. When a technician replaces a screen, a battery, or a camera module, Apple ties the new component to your device's logic board using a unique encrypted serial number. The company says this prevents counterfeit parts. It protects the integrity of Face ID. It keeps Apple Pay from being compromised. On paper, it sounds reasonable. Apple's Secure Enclave, the dedicated security chip, genuinely handles biometric data in hardware isolation. There are real security considerations baked into the iPhone's architecture. But that's not what this system is actually doing, not what it was built to do, and not what the internal documentation reveals. Here's what parts pairing is actually doing. When a repair technician replaces a component, a screen, a battery, a rear camera, the iPhone pings Apple's activation servers. That ping carries your device's unique hardware identifiers. Apple's servers cross-reference the component's serial number against an authorized parts database. If it doesn't match, the system triggers a persistent software flag. On older iPhones, you get a warning notification. On newer models, the battery health display disappears entirely. True tone calibration stops working. Face ID can disable itself. Camera stabilization drops out. None of this is related to the part's actual quality. A genuine Apple battery pulled from another iPhone of the same model will trigger the same flags, because this isn't about the part, it's about authorization. And here's the piece that never made the headlines. Apple logs every one of these events. Every unauthorized repair attempt creates an audit trail tied to your device's IMEI. Not to catch thieves, not to protect your biometrics. The log exists. Apple has never disclosed what they do with it. In 2021, the FTC published a report called Nixing the Fix. It documented exactly how Apple and other manufacturers use software locks to restrict independent repair. The Commission recommended action. The Biden administration issued an executive order directing the FTC to address anti-competitive repair restrictions. The EU went further. The Right to Repair Directive, finalized in 2024, legally requires manufacturers to make spare parts and repair tools available. Several U.S. states passed their own statutes. Apple publicly committed to expanded repair access and launched the self-service repair program in 2022. And the parts pairing system kept running, unchanged, every flag. Every log, every telemetry handshake to Apple's servers. The regulators wrote their reports, the laws passed, and it's still running. Here's why it's untouchable. And this is the part nobody reported. Apple didn't bury parts pairing in hardware. They buried it in a legal argument. The authorization check runs through Apple's servers, and Apple classifies that server communication as a security service, not a repair restriction. Under U.S. law, interfering with a classified security service triggers DMCA Section 1201 protections, the same statute used to prosecute hackers. Any technician, any competing software tool, any regulator attempting to bypass or replicate Apple's authorization handshake is potentially liable under federal anti-circumvention law. The right to repair laws passed at the state level don't override federal statute. The EU directive doesn't reach Apple's servers, which are US-based infrastructure. The FTC's authority runs directly into the DMCA wall the moment Apple invokes security. Apple made one more move. They made the self-service repair program real enough to function as a legal shield. You can rent the tools. You can order genuine parts. The process costs more than an Apple Store repair, requires a $1,200 equipment deposit, and still requires final software authorization from Apple's servers to unlock full functionality. The program exists to prove the system is open. It was never designed to be used at scale, and it's still running. Every repair, every component swap, every technician without Apple's blessing. Logged, flagged, and legally protected from the people trying to shut it down. Think about what this means for your phone right now. If you've ever had a repair done outside an Apple store at a local shop through a carrier by a friend, there is a record of that event sitting in Apple's servers. You don't know what's in it. You can't access it under US law. You can't delete it. You can't audit it. Your iPhone is not just a communication device. It is a reporting endpoint. Every hardware change is a data event. And the company that controls the operating system also controls the log of every time anyone touched your hardware. The battery your local shop replaced last year. The screen your nephew fixed on the kitchen table. Apple knows. Apple logged it. Apple has always known. And no law currently in force requires them to tell you what they do with that information. Apple earns roughly 30% of its services revenue from ecosystem lock-in that begins with hardware control. Every repair pushed back to an Apple store is a data point. Every independent technician locked out is a retained customer. Parts pairing isn't a security feature with a side effect of restricting repair. It's a revenue mechanism with a security justification layered on top. So here's what no hearing room has actually answered. If this system exists purely to protect your biometrics, why does Apple keep the logs?